Fruitful three-day cabinet retreat, interministerial approach to dealing with H1N1 and Zika viruses, and praise for West Indies men and women's senior cricket teams. You're watching Jamaica House Weekly. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says government is on track and will fully address the increase in the income tax threshold for some categories of workers when the budget is presented. Mr. Holness's comments follow a three-day cabinet retreat at Jamaica House last week. Government emerged from the cabinet retreat with refined plans and programs as it relates to the growth agenda, the budget, and the IMF program. Cabinet also carried out an intensive review of existing plans and programs of the ministries, departments, and agencies of government. In preparation for the tabling of the budget on April 14, Cabinet heard submissions from the Finance Ministry, the Central Bank, and the PIOJ. Prime Minister Holness also commended cabinet ministers for their dedication in marshalling their ministries, saying it gave him confidence that they would be agile in their implementation of government plans and programs. Last Thursday, Prime Minister Holness chaired an interministerial meeting to streamline government's response to the H1N1 and Zika viruses. He said government would be strengthening its response to the viruses in a more strategic, comprehensive, and systematic way. As such, ways were discussed to facilitate closer collaboration across key agencies and the efficient use of available resources. While urging personal responsibility to safeguard against the viruses, Mr. Holness said deeper linkages with international and local partners would also be continued. Last Thursday's meeting involved ministers and senior officials from the Office of the Prime Minister and the Ministries of Health, Tourism, and Local Government. The head of government has committed to continuing incentives for companies listed on the Junior Stock Exchange. Prime Minister Holness made the announcement when he met with a delegation from the exchange headed by General Manager Marlene Street Forrest. The junior stock market celebrated 7 years of operation last week. While offering his congratulations on the milestone, Mr. Holness said it supported government's push to boost growth. On Monday, Prime Minister Andrew Holness issued praises on the West Indies male and female senior cricket teams on their historic wins at the ICC World 2020 Championships in India on Sunday. In a statement, Mr. Holness said the wins were a testament to the grit and determination of the people of the Caribbean. The Prime Minister also urged persons to be inspired by the unprecedented double championship wins as well as the recent victory of the West Indies men under-19 cricket team. And Prime Minister Andrew Holness received several visits to Jamaica House this past week, among them officials from the Exim Bank. He also received a courtesy call from the Gleaner Company's lifestyle editor Barbara Ellington. Mr. Holness was presented with a framed photograph of the Gleaner's cover page the day after the 2016 general elections.
Much has been done, but there is still much more to do, particularly at the grassroots level, in terms of enabling and empowering the poorest and most vulnerable among us, including our women and children, to adapt and to cope with some of the intense and often devastating weather events associated with climate change.
Minister Darrell Vaz was addressing the opening of the third National Communication and Presentation of Outcomes 1 and 3, as well as the biennial update report to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. He used the function held Tuesday at the Mona Visitors Lodge to call for an effective adaptation process to include the informal and agricultural sectors which are disproportionately affected by natural disasters.
Community-based disaster preparedness and response plans that take the physical, psychological, social, and economic vulnerabilities of persons employed in the informal and agricultural sectors into account. This will help to reduce their vulnerability to disasters overall.
And that's it for today's edition of Jamaica House Weekly. Do join us next time for the latest news coming out of the Office of the Prime Minister.